Today, we're going to be installing the rest of the Maxton kit and carbon fiber paddle shifts on my RS3. In case you missed the last few videos, we've already installed the Maxton front lip and we've also fixed the fitment with eye-back lowering springs and spacers. And now it's time to install the rest of the Maxton pieces and swap out the paddle shifts for these carbon fiber ones. Firstly, we are going to start with the diffuser, so let's get this car turned around and let's get into it. Man, I really do love how this car looks and how much better the fitment is looking. I'm honestly not 100% sure how I feel about the Maxton diffuser, so we'll see how it looks when it's on. But it should definitely look a little bit better than the stock one, which is a little bit simple. It looks good. It does look good, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think it needs something a little bit more aggressive. I just don't know if the Maxton one is borderline, maybe too aggressive. So fingers crossed, it looks good. The diffuser definitely didn't come off as easily as I expected. I started by releasing these clips all along the bottom, which ended up being quite a pain to do. But with all those clips released, I then worked my way around the top of the diffuser to release these clips also. I did try to take it off gently, but I honestly had to use quite a bit of force to get it off, but luckily, we didn't break any clips. With the diffuser unclipped, the last thing you have to do is remove these sensors. They are both just attached with double-sided tape, so very easy to remove. I'm not sure what the system is called, but I believe these are the sensors that detect your foot when you run it under the bumper to automatically open the boot when your hands are full. So I've placed the two diffusers side by side so we can see the difference. And clearly, maybe from this angle, you can see how much more aggressive the aftermarket diffuser is compared to the stock one. And honestly, it actually looks a whole lot better. But also, we removed the tape from this and we've just added some more double-sided tape. I was going to do a strip the whole way along, but I didn't have enough, so I've just cut up pieces like this. And I have to remember, because I almost forgot, but the red wire goes up top and then the black wire goes below. Now before we install the diffuser, there are 4 screws along the bottom of the bumper we have to remove. These points become some of the mounting points for the diffuser, and this is the new hardware you need for the install. The plastic piece acts as a spacer since the new diffuser doesn't line up flush with the mounting points. Now you can reattach the sensors and slide the diffuser into place. Once the diffuser is clipped in along the top, just install the new hardware along the bottom and that's it. So it is the next day now. Yesterday we did manage to get the Maxton diffuser on, but we ran out of time and didn't get a chance to throw on the diffuser extension pieces. So that's what we'll be doing today, before we also go ahead and install the Maxton side lip extensions. To install the extensions, Maxton has provided a bunch of tech screws, but I've chosen to use riv nuts with an M5 bolt and also a little bit of Sikflex between each bolt to make sure that they're definitely not going anywhere. So firstly, with the piece lined up where we want it, we pre-drill the holes for the riv nuts. Then we use this tool to install the riv nuts in the holes we just made. Now before we bolt the extension piece on, we added a few blobs of Sikflex for extra hold. I'm not sure if this is too over the top, but I really just don't want these pieces falling off. If you would install these any different or would recommend any other ways of doing so, then definitely let me know down below. The first diffuser extension is now installed on this side, and honestly I think I've done a pretty good job. I was definitely a little bit messy with the Sikflex, but that's alright. You can't even see, none of it's come out or coming through, which is good. There is a little bit of a gap in here, I don't know if you can see, but it's honestly not noticeable. You can only see it when you're down low, which most people are going to be looking at it from up here, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm not going to bother trying to fill it with anything. This is what it's looking like now. I definitely think I'm going to keep them on. I think it makes it look a lot more aggressive just by adding those extensions. I think it looks great. So now that side's on, it's time to do the other side. With the diffuser now complete, I think we can all agree that it really does complete the back end. It is much more aggressive than the stock diffuser, and it looks a whole lot better than I thought it would. Now we move on to the side lip extensions, and to install these we'll use the same method as we just did for the smaller diffuser extension pieces. Also keep in mind that if you're like me and you aren't using a super low profile jack, then with the lowered car and the side extensions installed, the jack might collide with the extensions on the way down. This is why I have a few small bits of wood under the tyres to lower the car onto when I'm done. Low profile car ramps would also do the trick here as well. So I did run out of time the other day when I was installing the side extension, so I haven't had a chance to put the other side on yet, but I'll do that later off camera. So tonight we can focus on getting the paddle shifts on. But first, I'll give you guys a quick look at the side extension. Don't mind the mess, it has been raining the last couple of days here, but this hopefully gives you an idea of how that's looking. Showing it now. It kind of completes the front lip and the rear diffuser, kind of coming around, going across the side, and then flowing all the way to the rear diffuser extension piece at the back. But that's what it looks like there with the whole kit on now. With the side extension completed, it is now time to install these carbon fiber paddle shifters. To install the new paddle shifts, we have to start by removing the airbag. And to do this, we have to release the two tabs located at the back of the wheel on both the left and right side. Firstly, we turn the wheel to the left 90 degrees so we can release the first tab. This is what we are looking for at the back of the wheel. We use a small flathead screwdriver to get in here and release the tab. Once you turn the wheel 90 degrees in the opposite direction, you'll be able to access the second tab, which is the same as this one. So we did finally get the tabs to release. Took a little bit more effort than I first realized, but once I got the flathead screwdriver in there, had to push down quite hard, whilst also I found that I also had to push this area of the steering wheel and pull out at the same time. But yeah, we got there in the end. Both tabs are released, and before we disconnect the airbag, we have to first disconnect the battery. That way we don't accidentally have this going off in our face. But yeah, let's go disconnect the battery. In the tutorial I was watching before attempting this myself, the guy removed the whole steering wheel, which I planned on doing as well. But once I removed these steering wheel buttons, I realized that the tutorial I was watching was wrong and the steering wheel actually doesn't need to be removed. With this all out the way, I was able to get this in here and wedge in to the left hand side of this button here and pop the tab on that side, the one above on the left hand side, and then from there you're able to, because it's got a tab here, you're able to then lift it out. Then this tab releases too. Yeah, so that tab was kind of in there like that, and with these two released, I was able to pull this out like that, and then same on the other side. Now with those two out, I'll take a photo and I'll put it on screen for you, but there's just a bolt, one bolt each side, which will disconnect the paddle shifts, and then I believe some wiring you have to also disconnect from the paddle shifts. But yeah, as easy as that. And just like that, the first paddle shift is out, and we just repeat the same process on the other side. Now we have to separate the stock paddle shift from this whole unit here. And to do so, you have to remove the metal rod, which is here running from top to bottom. To remove this, you need to find something super skinny and push the pin out from the bottom. So I don't know if the lighting's the greatest, but I've gone ahead and gotten this tool. I'm going to use this to push that pin out, but hopefully comes out pretty easy. There we go. Now that it's sticking out at the top, use a set of pliers to pull it out the rest of the way. The electronics can now be installed on the new carbon paddle. You just click straight onto the new paddle and you can reinstall the rod to hold it all together. And then do a quick test to make sure it's clicking and working. So that one's good. Clearly, the new carbon paddles look much better than the stock ones and were definitely worth the upgrade. But anyway, I think it's time to get the car out and show you an update on how it's looking with all the new pieces. We've already started filming the next video, so before we wrap this one up, I thought I'd give you guys a quick sneak peek at what's coming next. Also, make sure you're subscribed and keep an eye out for the next video because it won't be too far away. But anyway, let's have a quick peek at the next mod.